This is the STL Medical Weight Loss Radio Show with Dr. Joe. No more talking, let's go.
Here's Dr. Joseph Moleski. How are you?
I'm doing well. Enjoying the, I guess, Missouri summer heat. I don't know if it's a heat wave, but man, the kids are loving it. They love swimming at, Lifetime Fitness, getting in the pool, run through the sprinkler. So yeah, we're enjoying summer.
I love it.
Hot and dry.
Yes.
Hot and dry. We're also joined by Drew Shelton.
Yes.
You'll check Drew out every morning, Monday through Friday on the Kel Brazil show from 8 to 11 a.m. But we wanted to talk with Dr. Joe because I get so many calls and inquiries saying, hey, what's going on with that shot? How are you doing? And I got to tell you, it's been the biggest blessing. It's trizepatide.
Yep.
And, I think I don't know, it's been a few months now.
Yes.
And I haven't even weighed for a week, which is shocking. I told Rick that on the way here. I was like, I should have weighed before I came. I haven't weighed for like a week. But a week ago, I was down 37 pounds,
Wow.
which is awesome. And Drew, I think you're down.
Yep, 35. We're right
35.
there. I think you started like a week before me.
But you know what's so cool about it is for me, and I don't know how you feel about it, Drew, but this is the first time that I am not obsessed with weighing. Like before, I would be like, and I'll tell you I know why.
Okay.
Before, every day first thing I do, get on the scale. Oh my God. And I'm like, wonder why I don't care this time. Now I find myself like waiting a week or two before I weigh, and I'm like, isn't that weird? But I'm like, wonder why it's different. And I thought, I know why it is. It's because before, when I always would try to lose weight, I was suffering.
Yep.
And I felt like I was giving up everything, and I was like, I want to see results. If I'm going to be suffering and I'm not getting to eat what I want,
Sure.
And I don't have that feeling with this shot. I don't even care. I don't feel like I'm missing anything. I don't want anything. And, you'll think you're hungry, and then when you start eating, I'm like, I eat 4 bites of a sandwich, and I'm like, I'm done. Like, I can't even eat anymore.
And me and Drew talked about this, I think, last week. We talked about it, I've said this numerous times. It's a tool.
Yeah.
Is it everything? No. It's still
got to do things.
Yeah, you still got to do things, but it works in your brain. It works in your gut. It helps with those cravings.
Yep.
And there's more and more research on these medications, folks. They're called GLP-1 or GIP agonists. That's the technical term. So GLP-1, if you just type that out in Google, you'll find a lot of research on it. And what they're finding is that gut-brain connection. So what you're talking about is like, hey, when I sit down on a meal, I don't have to worry about hey, am I going to overeat? Am I going to make a bad choice? When I go to the grocery store, am I going to grab that thing of cookies or have this big cart full of processed food because it's just tempting? So what you're talking about is I get that commonly from patients is just I feel in control.
Mm-hmm.
I feel in
It's
control.
the best feeling is not to even care or worry about it. And I tell people, it's not even if I didn't lose another pound, I know I will, but even if I didn't, I'm like, it's just so nice not having food be around everything in your life, you know?
Yeah, the mind trip on this is crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
You don't think it, but you're right. It's just gone.
Yeah, because I was explaining it to one of my sons, and I was like, before, and I don't care unless you've been overweight, you don't understand what I'm saying. And people like to make fun of people and act like we're lazy. Trust me, I work harder than a lot of you listening. So I'm not lazy.
No.
And I worked out with trainers. I've done it all to try to lose weight my whole life. I mean, I was never overweight until I got pregnant the first time, and that's kind of when my problems started. I was always very skinny. And never overweight as a child. So to go from that to a totally different setting was like, wow to me. And I've just never been able to conquer it since.
Yeah.
But I told my son when I was trying to explain it to him, I'm like, before I'd wake up in the morning and I'd be like, what are we going to eat for dinner tonight?
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to have for dinner? And now I'm like, I don't even ever think about it. That's what's so weird.
Well, and I'm a foodie, okay? And I've struggled with weight. Actually, when I was about 15 till about 22, I was overweight, and I just decided I'm going to work out, watch my diet, and I was able to get off the weight. But what I can tell you is those cravings that I have for food those are still there, very much there. And like my wife, you know, she's been on the medication, she's lost 60 plus pounds on it and whatnot, but she's even said like, hey, like, why are you thinking about food all the time? And what I find myself, and we've talked about this in a segment before, when Americans, most of us get stressed, then we just start like, we want to, you know, if it's not alcohol, it's not drugs, it's not cigarettes. A lot of us, believe it or not, when we say addictions, a lot of us are addicted to food, and we use that as comfort.
Yeah, if you don't smoke or drink food, then that's, and I always say food is worse because we have to eat.
Yep.
You can give up cigarettes, you can give up the alcohol, and I'm not saying it's not very difficult, but you have to eat. So, and the food that you eat triggers a lot of the cravings to where you just want even more. But so it's a totally different situation. That's why this is such a blessing. And I had a call from another listener. A lot of listeners are calling me and telling me their results. I know we have a listener in the Hannibal area who's down over 50 pounds, and he's like just loving it. And then I had a couple more listeners call that live in Lake St. Louis area that aren't even that overweight who are doing it. And I'm like, what are you doing it for? And they're like, I was getting out of control. I just got to get myself back in the pattern. And I was shocked. They had already lost over 30 pounds as well. And they're like, I love it. You know, I just feel great and I don't think about food all the time.
Yeah. And another thing is controlling your habits. So I feel like, you know, we can get caught up in whatever, work, we can get caught up in school, or we can get caught up, you know, in just life. And this allows you to build healthy habits.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do it alone. Like you're sitting there thinking, oh my God, like I'm just gonna sit there and count calories, and I'm gonna go to like Orange Theory or Lifetime and work out 6 days a week and do all this restrictive stuff, and then 2 weeks later it doesn't work. This, you can still do that, but maybe at a slower pace. And then you can still conquer those food cravings, and you can still get you can still achieve your goals. So I think what a lot of people experience, it just keeps them going. Be like, hey, am I going to be on this forever? Probably not, but I need to get a hold of my health right now, and I needed to drop that 20, 30 pounds, and then, you know, maybe you go off of it. Maybe you're on a maintenance dose, and then you can continue with the diet, lifestyle interventions. And so I truly believe that this is just the beginning for these medications, because there's a few medications that are in clinical trials right now. They're actually even more effective than this.
Wow,
that's what you were telling me a couple weeks ago.
That's amazing to think. Yeah. And I wanted to touch on a little bit what you were talking about in regards to the stress situation, because let's face it, the last 2 years launching the station has been the most stressful time, I'm not even kidding, in my entire life. And during that, I when I was like doing the math, I'm like, Rick, like I've gained like 65 pounds since starting this station, because it's the most stressful thing I've ever done in my life. And so to be like feeling like I'm going through it still, and I'm not needing to resort to food, and it's just a great feeling. So I hope if you are battling it, you've got to give it a try. I had a girlfriend who just started, and I've been trying to get her to do it for months. And she's one of those people that she investigates everything, and I don't know, you know, and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at where you're at right now. Like you're suffering, you're needing oxygen to just get around. And like, what do you have to lose? Like, come on.
Yeah, what's the alternative?
And you know,
we've talked about that.
Yeah, and one of the things I'll bring up, and it's what I'm about to say, it's something that you have to understand your why. Like, why am I doing this? Is it for your daughter? Is it for, you know, your future kids to, you know, be a part of their weddings? Is it, you know, this is real stuff. And the biggest thing is what if you don't do it? What are the consequences? And then I always get, you know, at STL Med, we, you know, do compounded medications. Obviously there's a benefit because it's compounded with a B vitamin to help with nausea, the most common side effect. We feel like patients report that being on our medication, it's been well tolerated even in the first couple months.
Not even a thing for me.
Yeah, and so, you know, the other thing is we pass along the savings. So you're getting 3 months for, you know, $1,500 to $2,000 versus $1,300 a month.
Right.
And so I wanted to do this because I wanted to make it more accessible for folks. We do have payment plans. But I think the reason I get, people look at the price and they're like, okay, well, I don't know if I can do that. Well, what's the price? Think about the price is if you don't do it. The hospitalizations, the future risk factors for developing chronic disease. If, think about the wear and tear on your joints.
Sure.
If you're, let's say 60, 70, 80 pounds, maybe 100 pounds overweight, every day you're putting damage on your joints. So you got to start thinking about maybe not the price. You need to think about what the price if you don't do it. And then here we focus on results. We're not like, you don't just have like a price tag on your name, like on your consult visit. We really want to focus on getting you the very best results, and we want to guide you doing that.
And to get back to the price, I've told people have said that to me. I'm like, the money you save on your food alone, like you're paying for half of it monthly on the food. I mean, I'm for real. Like you're saving several $100s, if not $300 to $500 a month just in food, because you're not going to want to eat. But as I told my girlfriend, I'm like, your life is priceless.
Oh, yes.
I'm like, you have a lake condo that you go to once a month. If I had to sell that lake condo so that you could be here to see your grandkids, that's what you should do. Because I want you here. And I think that really woke her up. So I'm so grateful. And again, she's only been on it a little over a week, but that's the first thing she said to me is, everything you said to me is like, right. Like, I just don't even think about it. I don't care. She's like, it's amazing.
Yeah. And my hope is that the medication, a lot of the price is dictated from the pharmacies, the compounded pharmacies. I mean, I'm hoping in the next year to 2 years, maybe with more medications that come out like this, because there's really only two. There's semaglutide, there's three. There's semaglutide, Victoza, and then there's the Mounjaro or tirzepatide. So I hope that maybe there's going to be more medications like this, and then it can drive down the price on things and make it more accessible. My thought is this should be almost free for everybody, because think about it, 1 in 3 Americans have prediabetes. We have 1 in 4 Americans that have liver issues. I talked about it in my last segment. And it's kind of like we're investing all this money into like chronic diseases. Here's another blood pressure medicine. Here's another diabetic medicine. Here's an Alzheimer's medicine. Here's this medicine. But what about fixing it all so we don't have to do all these medicines?
Right.
Yeah.
And so I get this laundry list every time I admit somebody to the hospital. They're like on 30 meds. And you think about side effects. I mean, you're getting all these, 50, 60, 70-year-old patients that they got this chemical soup. And if you ever take a look at all the side effects in one medicine, you're like, and you got 30 on board?
Right. It's scary.
That's
scary.
Well, I got to say, we only have less than a minute left, but you've got to reach out to Dr. Joseph Moleski. He's been a blessing to us, and I just think you're the best. I got to tell you,
Thanks.
a couple weeks ago, a Friday, I got a horrible migraine. And I reached out to you by text.
Yes.
He does so much more than just dealing with this. And you brought even your little girls, came here on a Friday night to give me an IV right here at the station, just to make sure I had a better weekend. And it was such a sweet thing to do. It helped me so much. So you've been such a blessing to me. How can people reach out to you?
Yes, the best way is to book an appointment online. STLMedWeightLoss.com. That's STLMedWeightLoss.com. And then the next way, if you want to reach us by phone, it's 636-628-6604, and we'd be happy to help.